And we are live with another broadcast in the Roofing on the Rise studio. We have an amazing guest today. We have Adam Bensman, the roof strategist. One thing, we are sponsored by Roofing Supply Incorporated here in the Houston marketplace and West Group Public Adjusting. You need a awesome supplier, awesome public adjuster. Hit me up, 210-919-8987. Again, we have the roof strategist in the house today, Adam Bensman. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you doing? Thanks for having me on, and thank you for being so flexible on scheduling. I love your persistence.
Absolutely. Man, it's a blessing to be able to have you on. It's a little different for me because I'm used to seeing you on YouTube.
Look at that.
Or on the training platform that you have.
Yeah.
A lot of people know who you are, and a lot of people are waiting for this episode, so I'm really excited to have you on today. Tell me a little bit about yourself, right? The roof strategist. Where did this come from?
Man, that's a can of worms we could roll with for a long time. So do I start at the beginning? Where do I pick this up? Where do you want me to pick this up?
Dude. Let's start at the beginning.
How did this whole thing start? I had no idea that I'd be where I am today. And at the same time, I know that I'm doing exactly what I was put on this earth to do. And it all started from life events that led me here. I drank the Kool-Aid that everybody tells you, do what you're passionate about in life and you'll make money and be happy, which I think is the biggest crock of BS that we could tell anybody. Do what you're passionate about and make money. Like most people, if you tell them to do what they're passionate about, they're going to like watch porn, play video games, drink beer, and smoke weed and be broke. And I, as a younger person, when I was getting my undergraduate degree in psychology, found that my passion was natural medicine. I went down that road and I went to this school called the New Mexico School of Natural Therapeutics. I studied massage therapy, core synchronism, polarity therapy, reflexology, a whole bunch of various modalities, including colon hydrotherapy, which for those who have had their breakfast already, colon hydrotherapy is exactly what you think it is. I was flushing people's butts. And this modality changed my life. And I was like, I want to give this gift to the world and help other people heal using natural medicine. So after leaving school, I went to start my own private practice, which is really easy. You just give the government some money, set up an LLC. I found an office space. I had an office, but I was lacking the one thing that we need, which is clients. And I was broke. I just moved from Albuquerque, New Mexico to Madison, Wisconsin. I didn't know anybody. Starting a business in a new place without knowing anyone and no real connections was not easy. So to make ends meet, I got a job as a massage therapist at a local franchise. The franchise, by the way, is a national franchise. I think they should be shut down for being criminals. That's my opinion, but that's for a different story. But anyway, I was paid $15 per massage. And I was only paid if I was booked. And I can't remember if they were billing like $80 or $100 per massage. But we were getting $15 and not everybody tipped. So I was required to be on site for 6 hours in case I was booked. But being new, if I wasn't booked, I'd sit there for 6 hours. I could leave there with 2 massages and no tip. So I'd make $30 in a 6-hour shift. And I was driving my gas guzzling truck 45 minutes one way, 45 minutes home. So I was living below the poverty line. I was making under 20 grand a year. And I was living on a very strictly calculated $4.20 a day in groceries. I didn't go out to eat like ever. Like Subway, $5 foot long was my entire budget. Like it didn't happen. You know, budgeting for the bottle of olive oil that you need to replace, wondering when you start your truck, how long you can drive. Can you afford to drive someplace? When are you going to be able to fill back up? Like it sucked. It was miserable. So a family holiday came around and my family, so I was in Madison, Wisconsin. My family was in Northern Illinois and they were celebrating Easter and I was going down to celebrate with them and be with everybody now that I wasn't living in New Mexico. And I couldn't afford to drive down there. And I'm in my 20s, called my mom. It's like, Mom, is there any way you can float me $20 for gas to get down there and back? And my mom doesn't even remember this. She just did it. She's my mom. And it was a very emasculating and demoralizing moment in my life. I was like, wow, to me, that was the wake up point. So on that drive in, I called her. I said, Mom, I just want to say thank you for the $20. And she chatted with me for a little bit, and I was like, I think I need to like make a change, because like at this point in my life, my income goal was $30,000. I said, if I can make 30 grand a year and do what I love, I'm happy. And I was making under 20, broke, not happy. And my stepdad, Ron, got on the phone, who'd been in roofing sales. And I didn't know much about his life in business because my parents divorced when I was older, after I was out of the house. And Ron gets on and goes, Adam, you can make $100,000 a year selling roofs door to door. And I was like, what? No, you can't. That's bullshit. This is in 2011, mind you. And I was like, you can't earn 2,000 or 100 grand a year, which back then 100 grand was very different than now. But 100 grand it's like, I'm like, how can you make like doctor money without, I didn't know anything about roofs. I thought door to door was a thing of the past. Like I was like, people still do that. And I have no sales experience. So I brushed it off, and then I had 4 hours of drive time to think about it. And then I got home that night, and I was like, the curiosity just took over me. I was like, I got to look into this. So I jumped on Craigslist, and I started looking, because that's where people got jobs back then. I jumped on Craigslist and I typed in roofing sales. I see all these job listings showing up, and they're all advertising the same thing that for many of us, we thought was total bullshit. Like, earn 6 figures, multi 6 figures, be your own boss, flexible schedule, no experience needed. And it's like, you're like looking around, you're like, is this the greatest scam in history? What's going on?
Right.
So I was apprehensive, but I decided, I got nothing to lose. I'm going to go interview with some folks. And that's what got me in. I had some, man, I got a hell of a lot of stories about that, the beginning times getting into the business. And I'm hesitant to just roll with this and go down the rabbit hole. But let me tell you, my first interview, I realized very quickly that people in this industry are crooks. And I learned how this company, before they even really asked me anything, they just taught me how they can con an insurance company into paying for roofs and paying more, because at that point they were hand measuring roofs. And they said, oh, you just buddy up with the adjuster, and then you run the tape. Well, he does a sketch. You just add a few feet to every measurement, so we pump up our claims. And I'm like, dude, I'm in the interview. You didn't even ask me anything. You're like talking to me about insurance fraud. So needless to say, I did not start with that company. I chose a fantastic company that I hung my hat with until I decided to come on this side. I actually just talked to the owner. His name's Jesse. He's a very good friend of mine. I was actually calling him for advice yesterday. But yeah, it was a funny foray, and here I am. Tried to leave the industry 3 times since getting into it, and I'm in love with it more than ever before, and stuck, but very happily stuck.
When did you start your YouTube?
I started, if you looked at the timestamps in the video, I think it was 2015, about this time, June or July maybe of 2015. But the interesting story about the YouTube channel, which I don't even share, I'm glad you asked that, because I don't share this on, like, it's not, the story is not out there. Started in 2015. The brand, The Roof Strategist, I was just a consultant. I worked with companies one-on-one, and it was all word of mouth. I didn't want anything to do with being. I just wanted to work with good people. I wanted a handful of people to work with, and that's it. And that's what I had. I had a handful of clients, and I was working with owners. And sorry, owners, I'm going to offend you for a minute, but I got bored, because many owners, you'll be like, hey man, you got to do this. And they're like, dude, I love it. That's brilliant. Let's do it. And then the next week I'm like, so how'd it go? And they're like, oh yeah, we got busy. And the execution wasn't there. And I knew that I wanted to make an impact on the team. So I started making these videos, and I didn't know jack diddly about tech. Like, I didn't know where to put what's a video file, So I uploaded these videos to YouTube as unlisted. I had my web guy make a password protected page on my website. Everyone had the exact same password, which was the word roof. And I started making videos for their team. And I was like, just share these with your team. And that was my way of helping owners execute and getting past them being their own roadblock. And then also being able to give that impact to reps that I really wanted to. And after I got burned and worked with a criminal, I found out this guy was involved in a large banking scandal. It was a roofing company. He owed $5 million in restitution. He was running the company in his son's name, paying himself cash. But his salary was to keep him under the poverty line. So on paper, it looked like he was below the poverty line, so he didn't have to pay back the restitution, was drawing everything else in cash. All this came out, and I'm like, screw this industry. I ended up right after that in a situation where I wasn't getting paid. The same stuff we hear of all the time: bad people, crooks, criminals, not getting paid, taking advantage of people. And I decided to step away. And that's when I stayed as a direct sales consultant and copywriter with my brand Brain Hickey. And at that moment, I said, screw this. I'm done. I finished up with my clients, and I went onto YouTube and I flipped those videos from unlisted to free. And I said, I hope they help somebody, but I don't think anyone's going to like a damn thing I say, because it was very different from what was available at the times. And I stayed in that space as a direct sales consultant and copywriter. And people started catching the videos and saying, dude, you got to make more of these. You got to make more. And my wife and her name's Sheena. I was just talking with her. She was the one that encouraged me. She's like, you've got something here. You should do this. And I was like, do I really want to? I don't really know. Is anyone going to like this stuff? And she encouraged me to do it. So I had no vision. I didn't know anything about what we do. I just started making the videos. That's it. Like, it was just to help the people that were in the shoes that I was. I got into it with no training. The company, even though it was a fantastic company, there was no official training process. It was like, come on in, here's the opportunity, figure it out. We all did, so can you. And that was it, right? Here's a shirt, here's a hat, go knock doors. And I just started making videos. I wanted to help people change their lives the way that my life changed in the industry, of going from, earning a 7x my income in 8 months. And it was life-changing for me. So after people started making those comments and I started making videos, and then the rest is history. It just kind of blew up from there, and then reeled me back in and said, you know what, this is where I need to be pouring my heart, my time, my energy. And so it was a short stint away, but not really, I guess. I was kind of only a very, very short stint away as people drew me back in. So that's how the whole channel started. It was all by accident.
And that's awesome. Like, I started watching your videos a couple of years ago, and I honestly, as a in my own training and building my company and my a friend of mine's company, it was a hard battle to try and hire and train reps in a quality manner. And let me put it in the right way, I guess, a little more of a classier manner, I guess. And I say that because I feel like your sales training is pretty classy, right?
Thank you.
It's very clean cut. It's to the point. There isn't much fluff in your training. I think the main majority of what you could try and call fluff would be your outro and your intro, and that's it. You have no middle fluffing bullcrap in your trainings, which I really like. And that's something that when you look at training platforms, you want to try to get something that's going to be more tailored to be repeatable, to be scalable, right? And you just can't scale. Here, watch me ride along with me for a couple of days.
It's pretty tough.
Just can't do that, man.
Yeah.
So from YouTube to your training platform, where was the shift there, and why did you do that?
It's a good question. You're asking questions that no one's asked me before, and I love that. My first product was the Marketing Battle Pack. And I started, when I was a direct sales consultant and copywriter, I learned a lot about the digital world and making sales online. And I knew, making videos was fun, but then I started to realize how time consuming it is. And the fact that, none of us can work for free all the time. I shouldn't say, that's not a fair statement. There are people who can and choose to work for free all the time. I'm not in a position, and was not in a position, to work for free all the time. And I said, if I'm going to be I started making these videos with no real idea where they'd even go. I just wanted to help people. And then the requests kept coming and things started growing. I was like, all right, so now I need to find a way to provide value to people that will solve a problem that I can solve, an expensive problem, and the financial exchange will be far less than the problem I'll solve. So the first thing I did is I took the material that I developed for myself as a sales rep, the marketing letters and things like that. And then I made them even better, knowing what I knew now as a direct sales consultant and copywriter, and being more, I guess, classically trained, so to speak, or classically practice as a direct response copywriter. And I said, okay, I'm going to make a few of these things. So my first version of the battle pack, I'm so embarrassed. I look back and there's like 10 documents. It's 280 now, all on file at the Federal Trademark Office, copyrighted materials, copyrighted works, but it was 10 of them. And that was my first product. And it was like, hey, I'm going to teach you these strategies and you can roll with them with our program. And then from there, I started to get people that I realized what I was selling was a hammer. And what people missed was the blueprints. It's like, hey, you can, like, the tools to build the house, but no one knew how to build the house. So then my platform was like, oh, duh. Like, I gave people the fast, easy thing, but what then I kept getting is like, well, what's the best way? How do you recommend doing this? And I realized that people were buying this thing and they didn't know how to use it, which is one of the reasons it's not available on its own any longer. It's available with everything. That's one of the many reasons. And then my first part of my platform was that program called the Complete Sales Strategy, which, by the way, I'm in the middle of refilming every single thing.
Oh, really?
That is on our platform. Yeah, making it even better. I've learned a lot. I can do better. There's things that I've changed my views on, so I'm enhancing. I'm still keeping it nice and tight. I'm going to be adding even more material, but I'm breaking it out so it won't distract from the core fundamental crash course. Get in there, no fluff, get trained up. But then the sales strategy was my first program that was added there to just be like, here's the material, here's how to use it. And then it led to the next gap. And people were like, great. So if you look at it, I was solving the problems in the order in which people encounter them in the day-to-day life as a salesperson. The first thing is I need a damn lead. So I solved that with the battle pack. Then it was, I need more leads. How do I figure out how to do that? Created the sales strategy. Then people would come to me and say, Adam, I keep getting these objections and I don't know what the hell's going on. I can't figure out how to overcome this and that. So then there was that component added. Of course, then the canvassing strategy was added to teach the entire SLAP formula, but way broken down into literally every true to life scenario that you're going to face. And then people would say, I can't close a deal, or I'm struggling there. So I took everything that I had done and developed for myself and the way that I taught my team, taking into consideration all the new learnings that I had on sales to make it even better. And then I slowly assembled the complete sales system that is now called the Roofing Sales Success Formula, that's currently being used by many, many thousands. We're in every state in the US for both storm and retail, tiny companies who are just getting going to quite a few of the largest residential roofing companies in America. And it's been
there's a lot of people that use your platform, especially in the Houston marketplace. One thing that people look at is what is saturated into a market.
Mm-hmm.
And I have came into a couple of markets where you're training, everyone has done it. So I've knocked on the door. My sales reps are like, we have to develop another strategy on top of what you've already put out there to add a competitive edge, because people were using this. And I'm just going to use, for instance, the Missouri City storm. So we go into Missouri City and we're knocking on doors, and man, we're running into the letter on the door, the multi-touch marketing, and we ran into this that you got in a basic blueprint, like you said. And so I'm very interested to see what you're adding, right? Because I know that as you add things get it better. And the people that have had that platform before will have to pay to get the new, right?
No, they won't. Everyone's getting updates, all the updates for free.
Oh,
my
really?
program's a lifetime access,
Right.
unlimited to the updates. So
Okay.
to jump into that, there's two things I want to hit. One of the reasons that the battle pack's not available on its own is in too many people's hands. I don't want that. I want it in less people's hands. And some of the people who have it down there were some of the OGs, the originals that could get it when it was on its own. And when I'm intentionally making our program more exclusive for that reason, to restrict the number of users out there. So if companies are serious and competitive, come on board. I'd love to chat. And if not, sorry, that's cool, but there's no
Yeah.
way. I mean, we still get requests from elevators. People, I just want the battle pack. I just want the letters, because that's the quick fix. I've had guys.
Yeah.
I had one
Yes.
dude write me in. He literally said, "Your letter," it was the under the radar sales letter, "made me," in quotes, "a couple million in sales last year." I have an entire folder of testimonials of guys.
Wow.
I got 10 letters this month. We just got our first 3 leads off the letters. That one letter made me millions. I just landed a church using your church letter. I get these all the time. So that's one thing I'm changing. The other things to touch on when we talk about other people using them, I think that's the greatest compliment in the world, because this industry was one, less united, two, not super professional, and
Yes.
three, a lot of the door-to-door techniques that were taught, my opinion on them.
Yep.
They just didn't serve a homeowner, and they didn't really accomplish the right mission. And what I'm finding now, after speaking, I've spoken from coast to coast, from retail markets to storm markets, literally in the same week. I went from Philadelphia to LA for events. And what I find in each market is everybody can have access to the exact same material, and there's one thing that separates them: how they execute.
Yep.
And I've watched teams go through this and execute really poorly. And I've watched teams that go through this and execute exceptionally. And the reason that I teach a formulaic approach is that you don't sound like a robot at the door. So if everyone's using the same philosophy, if 4 people come up there, it's going to sound different.
Oh,
Versus
yeah.
the guy that literally is reading the word for word script. "Hi, I am in your neighborhood today due to the recent storm activity. We are talking to the neighbors about offering a free inspection for your roof." Like,
Oh
where
my
they're just
gosh.
boilerplating
Stop.
this bullshit over and over again. So at least what I've done is I've taken the psychology of the sales framework and distilled it such that anyone, no matter where you came from, I've got companies that are all Latin immigrants where English is their second language. I've got companies that have a culture of like bringing in collegiate athletes. I've got companies that have cultures of bringing in firefighters and first responders and law enforcement. Others that are like, their whole team was from Best Buy, by the way. So everyone's
That's cool.
personality, culture, difference allows them to use this framework to be different when they're there. And the only overlap is a piece of paper. And then the really savvy folks, if they see that, which again, if they see that, one, who cares? It's who's going to execute better. That's one piece of the entire thing. And
Yep.
two, I gave you a freaking framework. Polish it, make it your own little style different.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That's what I love about your sales system, is that it's not like this is what you have to do. It's a tailored to your system. Man, I found very huge success with your email and or what is not necessarily email. It's an ad for hiring, right?
hiring ads. Yeah.
Actually, I was so excited about this. I don't know if you remember this or not. One of my friends, Mike Iman, came across and he was like, "How are you getting so good success?" And I was like, "Adam Bensman, I'll
I
send you
remember
the
that.
form." And you were like, hold on, that's copyrighted." And I was so excited. I didn't think about that. And I was like, "Oh crap. Hey bro, you need to call Adam and get this stuff because this is lit."
Yeah.
Oh
No,
my
I
gosh.
do remember that. That's
I'm so sorry, man, but
dude.
I was so excited. The amount of success that I had got from following a framework, a blueprint, if you will, it was so overwhelming that I just couldn't do anything but talk about it. It's
I love
freaking
that, man.
amazing.
I'm happy for you, and I'm happy that it helps you connect with good people. That's what it's about. And the hiring side, it's one of the biggest problems is people's hiring ads. It's an afterthought, and they're like, you know what? If I just put an ad up, the ads, as you see in the training, I use the analogy. It's like trying to sell an F-250 using the manual. It's like, "Welcome to your job in roofing sales. At our company, we serve homeowners. You go to them and help them identify if they've had roof damage. Then you meet
Yeah.
the adjuster." It's like, no one needs to know a step-by-step manual. No one got into this business because they were excited about roofs. No one got into this business because they were excited to go knock doors to strangers. And no one got in this to be like, "Oh, I can't wait to go meet with insurance adjusters on a roof," right? If you're insurance, or "I can't wait to go present estimates to homeowners on roofs." Like, we get into it because the opportunities. And one of the things that just provides such fast, easy results is, here's just I have 10 hiring ads. By the way, one of the things when I redo the Build Your Dream Team training, because it's older and times have changed, so I'm updating, where you're running your ads. I'm adding more ads to run, by the way,
Oh, nice.
in their copy paste. And as you've seen, there's different ads for different types of people,
Yes.
because
Oh,
you can
yeah.
get creative and be like, hey, if I want to recruit servers, run an ad for sales, but in the server section saying like, hey, are you
Yes.
tired of rating tables and want to get paid what you're worth? Like, just
Yes.
think outside the box, right? So, and then
People
with
don't
the
do that. Sales
no,
trainers don't do that. They just don't. And that's what is different. And if you're watching and you're wondering what's different about the sales training, what's different about the printed materials, it's a world of difference. Just like what he was just saying, with the server, there it literally outlines for you different scenarios for hiring, and you just plug and play. It's so easy.
it's the big
Like,
idea. Keep it easy.
I think, and like you said, tailoring it though is so important. So, like, one of the golden nuggets that I'll give that I use to tailor the framework that you gave was adding photos and video
Mhm.
of my team. And when I added a photo and a video, like a click, like a click here for Facebook or what have you, and I'd have a link to the Facebook video, and they seen us smiling, and the Facebook video doesn't have to be super like well cut and produced. It could be rough and rounded. You just get in front of there and smile and say what you are passionate about,
Mhm.
and they will see that in the photos, and they'll just check everything out. That's what gave me the most success, was
Yeah.
adding and tailoring to the framework.
Yeah, I love that. And that's the big idea. By the way, you just gave me an idea. I'm adding to my journal. I have a list of all the updates when I refilm, but now I'm going to be adding on there. Um, I've helped customers of mine create videos for hiring ads.
Yes.
So now there'll be some instructions on that video for hiring ad and image ideas, because they work really well. And by the way,
Yes.
for those that want to do this, like, you don't have to be polished. People like the raw authenticity. If you watch my videos on YouTube, look at the beginning ones. I mean, it's a joke. Like, looking back now, I'm embarrassed, but at the same time, I got going, and people don't care. It's the
But it
content that matters.
helped. It helped people, and it still
Yeah,
does. Those old videos still do help, because the
yeah,
person that maybe can't afford the sales training right now will go on YouTube, and they will go and look at, man, I know, because I had sales reps before I could afford that training, and they were going to the YouTube, and they learned by what they seen off of the Roof Strategist YouTube, off of, I'm gonna give another shout out, Becca Switzer's YouTube puts out a lot of stuff for content, but content wise, the most content on YouTube that's free that you can learn would be your content.
I appreciate that.
And that's something that I don't take lightly. That's something that people don't take lightly. So when you do think about those early videos, because I know mine are absolutely retarded, I feel like they're stupid, but
That's yeah, they have to be. If they don't, then then you're not getting better. I
yeah,
actually just did I did an Instagram reel about this. Like, I look back, I'm writing, I wrote a book. It's called The Roofing Sales Survival Guide: How to Beat the Odds, Overcome Yourself, and Win Big. And I think it should be required reading for anyone who gets into this industry. I wrote it also for the seasoned veteran who's questioning if they're why they're in it, or if they're burning out, or just need that kind of to tap back into the motivation that you have when you first get started, and the job's like addicting and thrilling, and then
uh,
that wears off, to get into that feeling. And I also wrote it for owners and managers who are leading a team and need to like get in their mind of the team and be a stronger leader. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I wrote the book. I actually finished writing it in December, and my wife is the editor. She edited
oh,
it, and she's like, honey, you got to rewrite the intro and the outro. This is not your message is not coming through as clearly as it needs to. And I was
nice.
like, well, crap. But
Right.
I love my wife for that. So anyway, so I just rewrote the entire thing. I just put up an Instagram post like, it's done. Like, here it
Wait,
is.
you wrote the whole book again? Or just
Um,
the intro and outros?
I rewrote half of it. Let's see, intro,
I
outro, that
remember
too.
seeing photos of you
Yeah.
on a plane. and you were working on your book.
That's because I wrote the entire book in 4 months on airplanes. Because I was speaking at 2 to 3 events a week. I had
That's
72
crazy.
hours of flight time in 3
Oh,
months.
wow.
So
Okay.
I didn't ever get Wi-Fi. I just would sit. The minute I got on a flight, I'd write. And anyway, so I wrote. It was about I rewrote roughly half, maybe a little less. Just got it over to my wife. She's proofing it, and then she's coming back. She's like, "Nope, this has got to be better. This has got to be better." And it's been like a really fulfilling journey. But while I was rewriting it, bringing us back to when I said your first video sucks, and that's good, is that means you're growing. Like I look back and I'm like, I thought it was amazing, and now I'm like, I was kind of embarrassed on how that came together. Like I reread it and I was like, is that really it? And by the way, if anyone asks, it is my writing. I did not get a ghostwriter. Someone the other day is like, they're like, how do you have time to write a book? I'm like, I didn't. I made it. I made time. Like, do you have a ghostwriter? No, I wrote it all. And it's not a sales training manual. It's something the roofing
It's
industry
a
has not
book.
ever seen. It's a book.
Yeah.
Um, and I look back and I was embarrassed by it, but then I rewrote it again. And same thing now. Like I kid you not, I'm losing sleep every night, including last night, because I want to refilm my program because I know I can make it better. I'm not getting complaints
Mm,
about it, but I'm
mm.
embarrassed of it because I look
But
back
you
and
know,
I know I can do that freaking
I
better.
like it.
And it's my mission. I need to do that for my people. So I need to go
Yes.
refilm that. And then on the recruiting side, there's things I've changed. On the closing side, there's two things that I've changed that I want to get reflected in there. And I'm paving the way for the future, which is remote sales. I've had a section in there on how to do stuff remote, but that'll get added in. I'm adding in more retail focus on the sales strategy because that part is a bit heavier on the storm focus. It's applicable and identical to both, but the language I use in teaching is there. So I want to clean that up. Some of the objection stuff, the way I taught, I've realized through thousands of rounds of repetition and hundreds of hours. I think I calculated, I think in the last the 6 month stint where I spoke at 50 events in 26 weeks, roughly. I have to go back and double check the math.
Whoa.
I spent about 400 hours in front of people on stages training, and that experience. And then now having thousands of users reaching out and hearing their questions. I'm like, okay, so it's just constant refining. And there's this one key thing in the objection strategy. I'm like, I got to get that out there because it's going to make it better. So I think that if you're someone who wants to create whatever it is, even if it's your business, if you're not embarrassed about what you first put out, it means you're not growing, or
Yeah.
it means you started too late, or both. And as why am I drawing a blank? The gentleman that started LinkedIn, is
I
it
don't
Reid
know this
Hoffman?
one.
Reid Hoffman, is that? Might be Reid Hoffman. Anyway, the guy started LinkedIn. MVP, minimum viable product to get going. If you you just need to do that. Who started? I'm yeah, I'm
Reid
99% sure.
Hoffman.
Yeah. All right, great. So
Yep.
my memory was, I was like, that'd be the worst. I just like Jack Nicholson. No.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, how important is just turning on the camera and recording?
Oh man, that's step one. And so many people are like, I don't like cameras. Guess what? I didn't either.
Really?
People ask me, "Oh, dude, are you kidding?" It's so weird at first. I used to be really good in front of people, and you get in front of a camera, and then you just feel freaking
Different.
weird. Like
You're looking at yourself, and it's just like,
there's
what are you doing?
you lose the feedback. That's the
Yeah.
hardest thing. Like I love speaking to a group because I can read a crowd. I get feedback. I can
Yeah.
jive on their energy. You talk to a camera, it's dead silent. There's nothing feeding back to you, and
You
you're in
have to
your own
be
head.
real creative.
What was that?
You have to. I feel like you got to be real creative,
It helps.
and not to mention, you have to be able to focus.
And you have to have a freaking plan. It's amazing how many people have sent me stuff. I don't watch it anymore because I don't have time. Excuse me, that's a shit answer. I don't watch it because I choose to not make time for things that suck my time out, but for no value. I choose to spend my very limited time on the areas of my life, my business, my relationships, and my clients that are going to provide the highest value. That's a better way to put it,
So
because everyone
you
has time
create
for,
more than you consume.
without a doubt.
Yeah.
I have a Facebook newsfeed eradicator on my computer. I don't see anything on Facebook. I show up on Facebook for engaging with my people. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't care what
I can
anyone.
attest to that.
posting. It's amazing. Frees up a tremendous amount of your time. But anyway, the reason I say that is those I've seen had people send me content in the past. I'd watch it, and they think that they can just like make a video and people will watch. And it's like, one of my friends, by the way, sent me the content he made, and I gave him very critical feedback. I was like, dude, this is unwatchable. You can't put this out there. And I coached him through how to tee up your introduction, what talking points need to be there, what you need to hit in the beginning, what the body looks like, how someone knows why they should watch this video. If someone shows up and doesn't know why they should watch the video, no one's going to watch the video. You know, if my content just changed to me just like sitting here talking BS, like no one's going to watch that because no one cares. It doesn't matter who I am or what they saw before. You need to know that your viewer needs to have a reason and an outcome for giving them your attention. And to me, my goal is, you give me attention, I make you money. It's that simple. Like, it's a pretty fair exchange.
Yeah.
You know, like that, it's easy. But anyway, it is, being on camera is weird. It's an adjustment. And as people have seen, outside of the like YouTube shorts that we'll cut, we'll take some of our older videos and splice them into shorts. Outside of that, not one video on YouTube has an edit. Excuse me, there's one, and it was me on a roof with subscriber Keith in Wyoming. And I was on the roof, filmed a video, and then got off the roof and filmed a debrief in my truck. We cut those together. There's one video out of all the, I think I've done almost 400 videos now that aren't the shorts. And every single one of them is done in one take. And
in one take.
Yeah, there's not one edit. I don't do intros. We don't do outros. We don't clean things up. I don't edit a thing. Every single video, and go look in our training center. How to Build Your Dream Team is the only thing that has edits, because I was splicing in a bunch of content. Outside of that, every single thing is done in one take. Every single thing. And the reason is because it provides it helps me learn to be a stronger communicator, to get the message across the right way. So some of the videos that I shoot, dude, I can come in my studio and be on a roll, and then crank out like 4 videos in an hour and a half. And there's other days where I'm not on a roll. And as I'm running through repetitions and repetitions, I don't have a good take, and my message isn't there. And then I'll journal, and I'll write out, and I'll get my message clear, and I'll go to hit it, and it doesn't link up. And this is where you can tell, I'm just going to say it, bullshitters, because it's really easy. I want to show you some on my phone. It's really easy to splice together content to make it look like you know what you're talking about as you ramble on forever. But what's really difficult is to talk for 15 minutes with a clear and concise message, knowing your key bullet points, how it links together, and carrying the narrative all the way through. And that's what's helped me become a strong instructor and teacher, is that I just have a million repetitions. And even my YouTube videos, my shorts that I film, because we have a variety of content we put out, I do them in one take. They're 1 minute. It's not best practice. It's not the fast cut stuff. And our team and I met, and we're like, I don't care. I'm not doing this for random views of people that aren't our audience on YouTube, just because I want viewership numbers. Like, that means nothing to me. And I know plenty of people in this space, by the way, who have great viewership numbers, and their audience is purchased. Their views are bought. Like, it's so easy to see through it when they have 15,000 views and not a single comment, you know? And even there's another roofing channel that, when you look at the analytics, they have a mysterious 100 new subscribers every month. But exactly that. Gee, I wonder if those are organic. They just so happen to be 100 every time. You know, you just start to sniff through this. But anyway, this is just some of the shorts. Like, there's a bunch of takes of me screwing up and starting over for a 1 minute video. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 takes to get one video right. And then there's more embarrassing ones as you scroll through my reel. Here's another one of another like 15 takes to get the right one. You know,
I love that.
And it's just, I don't know.
I'm not the only one. So like,
yeah.
I
love this stuff.
I do too. I never thought that this was going to be the avenue that I was going. Video is not what I thought. I was a roofer for 11 years. Now all I do is content, pretty much. Of course, I sell shingles with Roofing Supply Incorporated.
Yeah,
and that comes with it. But what attracts the clients is the content. I mean, I met with someone yesterday that clicked on a short on a reel on Facebook, and because I have increased visibility right now, it was not in my pool of friends list. It was from someone else. So this was outside of my friends list, and in less than I don't know, you could say a couple of hours from me posting the video to me making contact. Um, Less than 24 hours later, I was meeting with the client, and so I know that video content is extremely powerful if you use it the right way.
Yeah. The problem is most people don't.
Yes. So let's talk about mindset. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, you have accomplished a lot of really big things. Um, One with the YouTube channel, two with the sales training, and now you've got a book out. Is this your only book?
For now. I already
Okay.
have the second one I'm going to be writing, but for
So
now, it's the only book.
so you have now a book out, right? These are huge accomplishments. What was your mindset like when you're going through these hard times? Because like I know that speaking to your wife about edits on your book cannot be very, very comfortable, right?
You know what's funny?
Gotta be
It
a
is
little bit of a
comfortable.
comfortable
I don't
uncomfortable.
like having to go back and do the work when I thought I was done. That's it. But it is comfortable because it helps me. She's helped me be the best version of me, and she knows me. And one part of the message I'm trying to get across in the book,
Mm,
and in fact, I'll share this. I'll just air this out totally vulnerably. Um, One of the messages in the book is that it's not all about money.
yeah.
And we all get into this. Again, I'm trying not to use absolutist statements. I got some really good feedback at an OC event from one of the area sales managers. And the reason I use absolute statements, trying to stop, is it helps people feel like they're not alone. And he says,
Yes.
Adam, if you say that, you weren't with everyone all the time. I'm like, you're damn right. I wasn't.
Yeah.
So I can't say that. So let me start from the beginning again.
Yeah.
I think many of us, and I'd so go far as say most of us from my direct experience, are excited about this industry largely because of the earning potential.
Yeah.
And in my book, I'm sharing stories that it's not just about the money, but that part was lost. And I'm saying it's not only about the money. And my wife looked at me, she goes, Adam, I know you. Money is one of your biggest motivators, and it is. But there's a caveat to that. And I'll give you a few examples and tie it back into the book and the feedback, and then we'll link this to the mindset piece. Is that to me, money is a really big motivator, but not for the same light as like the guys that are posting Lamborghinis and stuff on Instagram or their boats and just trying to lure people into the grand lifestyle. Like, I'm doing well financially. I don't flaunt stuff. Like, the stuff part's not the thing for me. For me, I look at this no different than if a super athlete, they run a marathon and they're like, well, if I ran a marathon, I could run 30 miles. If I could run 30 miles, I could run 40. If I did 40, I could do 100. If I could do 100, I'm going to do a 200-mile run. The power lifter that deadlifts 500 pounds and is like, if I could do that. So to me, it's about achievement. And then the financial component is a reward of solving intellectual problems. That to me is the excitement of earning money. But again, everyone's drivers are different. But what is also important is that, like, with my brand, Owens Corning is the partnership that I have. I don't have sponsorships on my channel. Owens Corning doesn't pay me a sponsorship, by the way. The Pink Panther that's in the video set is because I freaking love working with them. They've been great partners. And I think it's hysterical. So
Yeah.
I have it in there. I've got like their stuff off camera of things like when I was at corporate for a visit, I got a bobblehead, speaking at an event, I got a mouse pad, but this stuff isn't like out there. I
Yeah.
don't spend my airtime selling other people's stuff. And I know, let's be real, my friends, if I leverage my brand for massive affiliate deals and sponsorship, I'd make a crap load more money,
Yeah.
period. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't. So that's why I said there's a caveat. And what my wife was challenging me about is that I need to clarify in the book, like, money is a motivator, but it's not just the money. Like, you have to have, every time that I've gotten too pulled into the financial gain, it's caused financial is not the right word, health problems. That's
Mm,
what led me to drinking way too much alcohol for stress management. It's what led to stopping working out. It's what led to poor relationships, is getting distracted by financial growth only. So it's a balance. So in terms of the mindset, linking all this back, I wanted to clarify, like, hearing the feedback from my wife is enriching. It helps me be the best version of me. She helps draw out the right message. And one of the things that's been the most challenging for me in this role is like when I first got going, I had a few fans and like I could say whatever I wanted and no one looks at it. But the more viewership that you have, the more scrutiny you're under. You know, you make one video, there's one thing you do without even knowing it that is interpreted one way, and then all of a sudden someone's looking at you in one light. So it's just really important to be crystal clear. And that pressure is like a blessing in disguise. It sucks, but at the same time, it's helped me be better. And when it comes to mindset, man, I know what I need to do. If you drill me with any deep question you have on mindset, but to me, it's about, I've written a vision. I've already accomplished it. All I need to do is just go backwards and fill in the steps to get to here. So when I got into roofing sales, I knew I was going to make $100,000. I just didn't know how to get there yet, but I knew it was going to happen. And then I got my, I hit my first 6 figures in a quick period of time. I know many people made more money. It wasn't which is great, by the way. I'm happy for them. The point is that I had the clarity. Same thing with the YouTube channel. I remember when I just got started, I had someone in the industry reach out and send me one of the nastiest emails you'd never believe if I read it to you. And they were trying to shut me down. And part of that, I believe, is, well, I don't want to spend my breath there. Anyway, it was discouraging to me. Yeah. And I wrote down on my whiteboard in my office, we will become the #1 most followed roofing sales training in the industry. And when I wrote that down, I didn't share it with anyone because I was too scared. I had like 2,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And then fast forward 3-4 years or whatever, and we made it, know? And again, I knew that it was going to happen. I had the vision. It was just backfilling how to get there. And
you're a big reverse engineer guy.
Absolutely. You can't get to what you need to do. I mean, you know that because you've been through my training. The first thing that we do is set your daily income goal based on your daily sales plan based on your income goal. If you want to hit this, you have to know how to hit this. And I think that's been one of my gifts is like, even I've helped with our guest courses that are on our platform. And we have one more coming soon, by the way. But Drew Suttle, his supplement course, I helped outline the whole thing. And Drew, it's been awesome. People are loving that. And I met with Drew. I met him at an OC event, both speaking at the same event. First time I was like drawn in on supplementing talk. Like, dude, this like held my attention. I love this crap. But helping him bring that to life, this other, my partner Cody on the solar side, same thing, conceptualizing the entire sales system first that we tested, then developing it into a training. And then same thing with this new guest. You'll be hearing about it soon. I just don't like, I'm superstitious. So if it falls through, I don't want to share it. But anyway, that whole course was outlined almost a year ago now. And yes, reverse engineering is what needs to happen. So I guess that's my first tip on mindset. Is you just got to reverse engineer the path to get there. So you know what's on course and what's off course.
That's awesome. You hit and you touched on a couple of things. It's something that a lot of top performers do, and that is a regiment or a routine, right? So you said that a certain action led you to overconsumption, and that led to you breaking your protocol. Could you walk us through, because I know a lot of people like to emulate top performers. Could you walk us through your regular routine?
Yeah, absolutely. I've changed my routines about like every year or so, not by design, just as my needs change. So I'll just share my current one. Yeah. My current one is I wake up between 5:45 and 6:15 a.m. The reason for that is I drank the Kool-Aid that like real men don't need sleep and you should start your day at 3 a.m. or you're a giant loser and all that stuff. Like you're not productive.
David Goggins.
You know what's funny? I spoke at the Own 20 Platinum Conference. David Goggins was the keynote. I had an opportunity to see him speak when I was there, and he had shared this, and this is what inspired it. He said, I used to only get by on 2 hours of sleep or whatever per night. And he goes, it wreaked havoc on my adrenals. So adrenal fatigue is a real thing. Yep. I dealt with it. When I was doing this many speaking events, bouncing time zones, traveling, I was a full-time speaker and trainer while also a full-time content creator while also running a business full-time. The amount of stress and time put in is unfathomable for many. I know that a lot of the business owners, they're tuning in. You guys get it. And with that amount of stress, I started having health issues. In fact, the reason that I ran in, like right now, I had just hired a concierge doctor. I was literally at my house with my doctor there going through some of the stuff that I started having symptoms of because of this overwork, lack of sleep.
Yeah.
So I now find that 8 hours of sleep is like good for your body to recharge. So I go to bed at the same time. I'll start at night and then I'll end it back at night. I have a bedtime. I'm in bed by 8:30 or 9 o'clock latest. Even
Okay.
like my wife and I went to Cabo. I don't think I was in bed past 9 o'clock when I was in Cabo. Like
Okay.
I just am in bed. Of course, every now and again, like on a weekend or something, I might stay up. But
Yeah.
even my wife will laugh. She's like, "You made it till 10 o'clock tonight?" Like I'm a routine guy.
Yeah.
So
Love it.
when she's gone, I'll be in bed at like 7:45. I'm like, if you're
Yeah.
gone, great. And I'm just gonna get in bed and read a book. So I get in bed early. I get up 5:45, 6:15. I do a meditation while I'm in bed. My meditation that I do is to calm my mind, because I wake up like many entrepreneurs, mind racing, ready to go. Your cortisol levels are the highest in the morning, and I'm working on self-regulating all of that. So I literally just calm myself down. Next thing I do, grab my shoes and I go for a run. And I'm lucky enough, fortunate enough to live up in a beautiful spot in the mountains. So I run outside, and doesn't matter if it's rain, shine, snow, dark out, light out. I'll put a headlamp on, rain jacket, doesn't matter. If I got a flight early, I'm up at 5:30 to get my run in before, because it's also for my mental health.
Yeah.
Then when I get back, I'll do my breakfast, hang out, and say hey to my wife. I bring her coffee every morning. I'm her alarm clock. I say every morning. There's times I don't. If I've got early meetings and stuff here and there, but generally I'll bring my wife coffee in the morning, and I like to fuel my mind with some journaling, thinking, reflection time. But when I run, I don't listen to music. I don't care. Like the other day I did a 3.5 hour run. I don't bring music. That's quiet time. That's thinking time. So I solve most of my day's problems in a run. And then 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'll run and then work out. So this morning I ran. I even have in my office. Sorry, we just did some construction on the fireplace in my office. But I got a gym in my office, full kitchen in there too. But I got a workout in, run before the doc came. And then I've got every one of my days is planned the day before. So today I know exactly what I'm doing. I've got agendas preset for all my meetings, my daily meeting with my team, daily meeting on marketing. I've got all my projects that I'm working on. And the other thing that I've done is I've batched my days, which in the day-to-day life of roofing sales, this is impossible. You can't do it. But I shouldn't say you can't. I don't want to tell anyone that they can or can't do anything. I'd find it very difficult. But now, like Mondays, YouTube video days, Tuesdays, social media video days, Wednesdays, 100% dedicated to my team. So I'm auditing our calls. I'm listening to call recordings, watching our demo recordings, training the team, and it's purely focused on personnel development in our office. Thursdays are big project days. So I'll be executing upon the initiatives like my book or getting organized to refilm. And then Fridays I've dedicated to thinking time. And thinking days are just big picture planning. And that's kind of a flux day. So some days it's just big picture thinking and planning. My wife and I'll sit down and go through business optimizations, or other times I'm using it as carryover for big picture stuff. Like the other week, I cleared the entire week, and all I did was write the book all day for 5 days straight to get it back to where I wanted it to be. Okay. And then at night, I stretch, which I used to do in the morning, but now that I've added more workout time, I've lost that. So I was stretching every morning. Now I've moved that to before bed. And then I get in bed, I read to fall asleep. I don't bring my phone in my bedroom, and I have an alarm clock there that wakes me up, and then I rinse and repeat. I live a very, that's my life. I
had
work,
to ask because I've followed your sales system. So I wanted to know, and this is very, very broad. And I mean, people watching, this is a very vulnerable time because you're sharing your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was in the back of my head was, does Adam follow his own training? Because you are very, very on schedule. That is a big deal in the training. Yeah. And so I'm very happy to see that you do, right?
Consistency.
Obviously, doing the stuff that you do, you would have to be at a high functioning, high level, um, to be able to do these things. I mean, you have to function at a very high level. So I see something that you've said quite a few times that I'm going to touch on because I know one of the viewers that are watching right now and is a constant viewer, one of my biggest, biggest helpers in my life is my wife. She makes sure that all my live videos are good, my lighting, my audio, everything's good. If it's not, she'll send me a million messages, and if not, she'll have a million people text me to make sure that I know what's going on. So, a big shout out to my wife and also to yours.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you, Sheena.
you talked about wife and how she is like a rock in your life, right?
Yeah.
So let's touch on that a little.
Yeah. I wouldn't be here without her. She's the person that helps me be the best version of me. She's drawn out more Adam than I could do on my own from when I met her, and she's my best friend. We met online actually, and had just given up on online dating. She looked at my profile
Really?
and she was interested, and she had her own internal narrative that I wouldn't be, or whatever it is. And then I looked back and her profile said, I'm looking for my best friend. So we ended up starting to talk. We ended up, of course, getting out on our first date, which was a great first date. And 8 months later, we moved in together, got a house. We did things backwards, and then I proposed. But yeah, she joined. She's been working with me. She started working with me in 2016, kind of part time, and then now she's our chief operating officer. She runs
That's
the brains of
awesome.
everything. I don't even know how our business runs anymore. Like, she's literally training me on how our operations go. It's wonderful. But she encourages me to be me. She challenges me. She gives me the critical feedback that other people won't. And all of my greatest accomplishments were because of her inspiration or her guidance. The YouTube channel was her pushing me. You should do this. Like, I didn't have any idea of doing the video. She encouraged it. The name, The Roof Strategist, she came up with.
What?
Yeah, it was not my idea. Like,
Let's go.
we were driving in our RV. I know we only have a few minutes. So when I left roofing, my wife and I were at a very fragile part of our lives of burnout. Sold our house, everything we owned, got a fifth wheel RV, traveled the country. My early videos, by the way, I was living out of that RV. That's why they're in different places, or like in my family's house or something, or like on the road, or driving around in my diesel truck because I had nowhere to film because I lived in an RV. But we were driving around in an RV, and she's like, "What do you think about the name, The Roof Strategist?" And I was like, "It's fucking awesome. That's great." So anyway, she's a tremendous inspiration. And I do believe, I don't know who I can quote this saying to, but you will only be as successful as your spouse or significant other allows you to be. And
Yeah,
that is the truth.
I, that is it's really on point. My life, very, very, just on point, dude. Exactly what you said. Like, my wife is my rock. She gives me so much critical feedback, um, in a way that is positive for me because she knows me, right? She
Mm-hmm.
knows um, what will drive and motivate me. And just like what you're saying, which is kind of crazy with the videos, like, she'll be behind me because I edit almost every one of my videos. I have a lot
As
of
do most people. I'm not dissing you, by the way, on that front.
no, 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 no. But she helps me through that. So it's like, oh, wait, because one of the big things is my captions. So I've got two different kinds of videos. One of them's edited by our team, one of them's edited by me. And the ones that are edited by me solely, I want to make sure that they're original. And she's behind that and she helps me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really awesome to hear another individual talk about their wife in that respect.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of people they just say, "Oh, well, I did it. It was all me," you know. So
Oh yeah.
hearing that that's very humbling. It's very humbling.
It's I couldn't do this without my team. John on our team has been with me from not the very, very beginning, but very, very early on. He was our first team member. Couldn't do it without him. With Matt, who has replaced me from day to day. ops and customer support, and Kennedy, who's our newest team member. Like you can't do it without people rallying behind the same vision. And one thing I do want to add, I'm so glad that your wife is such an incredible human and support. And it's a shame that partners behind the scenes don't get the acknowledgement that they deserve.
Yeah.
And so to all the wives, husbands, boyfriends, girlfriends, we love you, and we wouldn't do it without you. And my wife also watches every single one of the videos. She's actually the one that uploads the videos and schedules the podcast and does all that. And when they get kicked back to me, it means that I have to refilm it. And she's like, nope. and I love it. Like, she used to be like, I hate to say this. I'm like, no, that's great. I'd rather you tell me this now than it go public and then be like, someone's like, what the hell did he say there?
I freaking love it. That core value is really, really important.
Yeah.
And like, I know we're getting to the end. But the blessing about having this and owning the content is, I could say, when we stop. But one of the questions I really wanted to ask was, um, whenever whenever you go through your day to day, and I'm sure you get down, some reason or whatever. We're not all superheroes. What do you use to help get you in better spirits?
Damn, that's a good question. Yesterday was one of those days too, which is funny. And the reason it was one of those days is our biggest threat is people sharing our stuff. It's
Uh,
it's intellectual property. It's
yeah,
copyrighted material. All of it is on file at the Federal Trademark Office, and we forget. People are like, oh, it's just an email. It's just, no, it's not. That's my
no, it's
life's work. Like, and Marquise, I know we took, like, this
yeah,
stuff
I feel
happens.
so bad.
You're good, dude. Like, we talked, and you were respectful and
Yes.
responded. And not everybody's like that. And we've had just, again, the problems of scaling. There's unfortunately more people that I have to deal with now that
Yeah.
it drags me down and distracts me from the good souls. So a couple things that I do. I want to share that because I was literally there yesterday, and it was two particular companies that are clearly abusing our system. They're violating terms of use, and it it bugged me and my team for an entire half day. Which, by the way, when you know how affordable our program is, that like
Yeah.
we'd lost money just
Yeah.
on that, right? What gives me motivation is thinking. There's a few things. Number one, I like in Stoic philosophy the saying "memento mori." Remember, you are dying. So I remember finite life on this earth. Do I want to choose to be miserable and upset? The answer is no. The
Mm.
next thing I do is I use the Stoic philosophy, the approach of thinking how much worse it could be. And I spell it out in my head. And I realize that when you spell out, when you're facing a situation, feels like the worst thing in the world, and you think, well, how much worse could it be? Tell yourself, well, I could have this happening. It could have this happening on top of it. I could have this happening on top of it. I could have this happening on top of it. And then all of a sudden, the situation you're in doesn't look that bad because
Yeah.
it's not really that bad, right? Comparatively to what it could be. It's like at the end of the day, I had two a-hole customers that I had to deal with that are slimy sleazeball people that I want nothing to do with. At the same time, I have thousands of customers I absolutely love serving and whose lives are being changed. Why would I let them take my attention? Which
Yes.
brings me to the third thing, which is, by the way, these are clearly numbered in my head because I actually practice this stuff, is I go back and I'll review testimonials from people that have shared their
Mm.
stories with me because it
Mm.
grounds me in what I'm doing and it pulls me out of the negative stuff that has a tendency to kind of be a drain, and it gives me that why.
Mm.
So those are kind of the three main things. Remember, you're dying. Do I really want to do this? The next one is uh, thinking about how much worse it could be. Sorry about that. I had to
Yep.
run back through my head there for a minute, and then thinking back to all the happy people I've served. So that's just a few of the techniques that I use. There's more. Um, I also believe in just taking a break. Like
Mm.
sometimes you just need to step away. And to me, time and space is helpful. Like to me, the mountains, that's why I moved into the mountains because it's been my dream my whole life. Like it's like a hug from the earth. I love it. So when I need to step away, like you're going to find me with no cell phone. Like when I go on my run in the mornings, I don't even take my phone.
I like that.
I don't, why would I bother? So I love to just step away and go go think. But yeah, a bunch more. And I share a lot of this mindset stuff. That's why I wrote this book, The Roofing Sales Survival Guide. It's not a sales training book. It's about the inner landscape that we face, the self-doubt we experience, the questioning how we stack up against competitors, all of the threats that are hiding in our success once we get through surviving the stuff that we face once we're successful that drag us down. So there's a lot more, but in the interest of time, as I'm watching the time tick by, those are the big ones that I use on the most frequently.
And I love that. And one thing that I have noticed is you've looked over to the side a few times. So I feel like you've got a mountain or two out the window that you're looking at.
That's funny. I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but yeah,
Super
we're tucked in the mountains, and that's all.
That is amazing because you've worked so hard to be where you're at. Where can everyone find you? So if someone's trying to find the Roof Strategist, where could they find you?
They type that into anything on the internet, you'll find us.
Ooh,
you'll find me on YouTube. You'll find us on Google. We transcribe all of our episodes. You'll find us at theroofstrategist.com. You'll find us on TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn. All the social channels, by the way, is at Roof Strategist. If you're a Facebook person, Adam Bensman on Facebook, Adam Bensman on LinkedIn. And then if anyone's interested and just wants to jump into our free training center, you can text the word free, FREE, to this number, which is 303-222-7133. And if anyone wants to chat about our programs and see what you've raved about, Marquise, you can just text the word demo, DEMO. Same phone number, 303-222-7133. Either way, you'll get an instant text back with a link to either get in the free training center or a link to pick a time for your demo. And that same number, you can correspond with our team. It's not my cell phone. People, for some reason, think it is. Just want to get that out of the way. It's not my cell phone. It's our office phone. So you guys have questions. Our team's awesome. Kennedy and Matt, tag team support, and you'll be very well taken care of. But otherwise, you'll find new uploads every day.
And the next time that you'll see you is in the next video, right?
That's true. You'll see me in the next video.
That's something that I keep in my brain is like the viewers see us in the next video. So it's pretty cool to kind of end on that.
Yeah.
Again, it's been a live broadcast in the Roofing on the Rise studio. Today we had a awesome lineup. This was an amazing section with Adam Bensman, the Roof Strategist. We are sponsored by Roofing Supply Incorporated here in the Houston marketplace, where you can find all of your materials right here. Are also sponsored by West Group Public Adjusting. You need a good, awesome public adjuster and appraiser. They are your people. Again, Adam, thank you so much for coming on and taking the time to give us in this podcast.
Yeah, Marquise, thank you so much. And I really appreciate the deep dives that we went on in a really fun personal direction. So appreciate you, man. And thank you to everyone who spent your time with us today. Hope you enjoyed yourselves. We'll see you in the next one.
Next video.